In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we're going to finish up with Hypnosis and Tequila. If you've not listened to part one, go back and listen to it because we're having a great time. Very challenging, fascinating, and insightful conversation with my special guest. And also stay tuned as we're going to give away a free hypnosis guide. We'll be right back.
This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, people? It's David Wright. We are back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast.
Rock on.
And we're continuing this episode. We're doing part two. So if you did not hear part one, just listen now. You can go back and listen to that and put it together. So, yeah, don't leave just because you didn't hear part one. We are here in the Podcast Detroit Northville studios. With me, as always, is my producer, Matt Fox.
You know, I feel like I'm still working, but I'm getting better at it.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you are getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, look, I could push a button.
What the fuck are you doing?
So let me tell you where you can find me, folks. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. You can find the podcast, my store. You can find, and on my store, you can find just a whole bunch of crap that you can look at. I say crap, it means good stuff. Past shows. If you've ever been to one of my shows, chances are what the recording is there. So take a look at that. And you can get me on social media, Facebook, YouTube at Motor City Hypnotist, Twitter and Instagram at Motor City Hypno. And just pop into my social media, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. I always like to talk and interact with people. Say hi, jump in, give a like, subscribe to the channel. That would be great. And if you want to contribute financially to the show, you can also find me on Patreon at Motor City Hypnotist. And we have just 3 tiers there, very minimal amount each month, but it does help the show and help us to continue to produce good content and give you what you want. So check that out as well. Also in this episode, as I always give away a free hypnosis guide, but I'm also offering a free hypnosis MP3 download for insomnia. I mentioned quickly at the beginning of last episode that I have a lot of clients coming in, it's just in general, just worry, anxiety, frustration, and it's affecting their sleep. So that's out there for you to download. So grab one of those. The link will be in the show notes, and yeah, grab that. It'll be very helpful for you. It is our winner of the week time.
That's how winning is done.
This might be Matt's favorite part every week.
You know, this is what starts my weekend.
It does. So our winner of the week comes from Crosby, North Dakota. I don't know. Actually, I was just going to say, I don't know what's in North Dakota.
North Dakota,
I was doing a high school show in North Dakota for a number of years in a row.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of nowhere. I can't think of the city name right offhand, but their claim to fame was it's the birthplace of Lawrence Welk.
Okay. Oh.
That's what the big billboard going into this Too Light Town was.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great music, great show. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, this is from North Dakota. So a North Dakota man, he's a farmer, suffered a heart attack. Lane Unham, who farms Durham wheat and canola at his farm near Crosby, North Dakota, went into cardiac arrest after his combine harvester caught on fire.
Oof.
When his neighbors got word, dozens of them gathered at his farm with a menagerie of equipment in tow. Per Don Anderson, one of the neighbors, nearly a dozen combines were taken to the farm, and they harvested over 1,000 acres worth of crops for this guy.
Wow.
Because it had to be done. He would have lost these crops had they not been harvested.
Absolutely.
And the quote was, and the Unheims have a beautiful crop that will be safe in the bins today. And more importantly, they have the comfort of knowing that they have a community of friends that are helping and doing whatever they can to help them get through this.
Livelihoods are at stake.
Yes.
You know, keeping food on the table is at stake.
And we mentioned this last episode talking about, putting yourself out there and jobs and having that stress and pressure. But, if this guy, he couldn't harvest 1,000 acres.
No.
I mean, so it's just great that this community comes together, and they do this in a day, by the way.
Gosh. That's a lot of harvesting.
1,000 acres, and it's done. And this guy doesn't have to worry about it.
Good for them. That's awesome.
So the community of Crosby, North Dakota, that's why you're our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
That is surely how winning is done. So we're going to get back to our episode.
So, back to it.
So those of you who listened last time, my guest is Don Ferguson, a friend and a entrepreneur. And I'll just read a bit off the read because I messed the read up last time.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
I was
fucking
close.
thing sucks.
So I'll put it in a nutcap if I can. He is the founder and CEO of Teak Spirits and Teak Spirits Inc. and Teak Life Inc. And he owns a tequila company. I'm just going to put it simple as that.
That's the best way to put it.
And he's been doing that for like 3 years.
That's amazing.
And
I like tequila.
He quit corporate America job. And of course, since we're talking about tequila, we'll throw this in.
Well, so long as we've got some time to kill, I think I'll have a beer.
I don't have no beer, just tequila.
What's tequila?
Yeah, it's like beer.
Is it fattening?
Fattenings?
Forget it. If it's like beer, we'll have some. 3 tequilas.
Sure, amigos. Enjoy yourselves. But try not to get into too much troubles, okay?
Yeah. So Don owns a tequila company. I don't know if he served the 3 amigos before, but
No, I've served more than 3 amigos.
Oh, I would think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think so. So welcome back, Don, to
Thank
the
you.
show. And we were talking last time and really just highlighting the decision you made to leave corporate America, take this challenge on, and just feel more complete and feel more. I'm trying to think of a good word. You describe a word.
I mean,
for me.
fulfilled.
Fulfilled.
Really is what it was. And, what I didn't account for, and I don't know if anybody can. Like, when I left, you have that immediate, and I went out of town, actually, because I'm a blogger. That's what Teak Life is. It's a blogging company. And we went to L.A., so it really hadn't set in. It's like I've only been gone 5 days.
So it's like a vacation in a way. Yeah.
Right. I went out there, drank a lot of tequila.
Yes.
They have the first mezcal bar to ever open in America out in Los Angeles. So they have over 375 different tequilas and mezcals.
Wow.
And so we did not sample all of them, but it was a worthy effort. We'll just say that. And so then I come home, and it's back to normal life, so to speak. We're creating this company, and so it felt really weird. And then what I did, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, I started to detox from being in a corporate world for 27 years or almost 30 years, where I was always working. Now it's okay, go and do what you need to do and build these companies, and there's no manual. You don't have a pamphlet.
Nope.
And so, stresses and anxiety set in. You got to figure the shit out. But I did. I had to take some time to detox and kind of get it out of my system and figure out a different way to think. That's really what it came down to.
Yeah. And folks, we say all the time, if you have to change your thinking if you want your feelings to change, if you want your behaviors to change, if you want your circumstances to change. It starts with thinking. That's where it all begins, and you have to make the change there. So, I mean, and the reason I had Don in, the reason I asked him to come in is because his story is inspiring to me. It's like, okay, I just left everything because this was going to be satisfying. This was going to make me fulfilled. And yeah, there's fear surrounding it. Anybody who's not scared, I don't, probably don't have a heart or don't have a...
It would be incredibly wild to meet somebody that, did that didn't have an income coming in right away or whenever and never had an ounce of fear.
Right.
Like, I think the fear can be a driver.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the fear is something that drives you because without it, you wouldn't care. You would just lay on the couch all day and just hope something good happens,
Which doesn't. let me tell you, it doesn't. You have to put in the work, and what I've found is, at the very early onset is working extremely hard. I visited personally at least 200 stores in Michigan to ask them to carry our tequila, and I was pretty successful, but it was tiring. Like you've been on the road. I wasn't going out of town, but I covered all of Michigan.
Yeah, it's still doing a lot of driving and a lot of talking and a lot of schmoozing, if you want to call it that.
And then you have your in-store tastings, and people would say, "Well, you're the owner, and you're doing an in-store tasting." Yeah, because I don't have the big budgets that some of these other corporations have. I'm doing this. We're starting it and building it from scratch. Everything and we had to learn along the way. So all these different roles I had to take on: marketing, in-store tasting, sales, promotion. I figured out how to write a press release.
Yep.
I had no idea how to write a press release, and I knew how to write a shitty one.
Yep.
But I had to figure out how to write a good one.
It's funny you say that because I've done my share of press releases, and when I first started. Yeah, it was a cluster bleep. It was like
it's harsh.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. But I did get to the point where I'm not going to say I'm proficient. I'm not like I wouldn't. Somebody's not going to hire me to copyright for them. But I can do my own
something.
thing.
Yeah.
I can make myself sound and look good, and it's gotten good responses before.
Yeah, and that's where I've gotten to social media. Like I'm not an expert by any means, but I know how to do some good stuff like videography, because you have to create your own content when you can't hire it out. Just all these things has challenged me, and the byproduct of that is what I learned is I'm a very creative person, but I was not challenged creatively in any corporate settings. It was do this, task oriented, and then you get the reward, the acknowledgement. You did a great job. You're up for an award, but 10 months later you might get fired.
Yeah.
So, I don't need that. The pat on the back, is within. Is wow. Okay, we created something that people. But it's just a situation where, you have to love something. You have to love what you do too, because if you don't, you're never going to be fulfilled. And so loving the spirits industry, that was a good motivator for me. Is I enjoyed learning the stories behind the brands, and now I have my own story that I get to share and write press releases.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's always a learning process, and for those of you, I have to believe almost everyone has had that thought. Screw it, I'm quitting today.
Oh yeah,
and I'm gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna, I don't know, shave donkeys for a living. I don't know. That's a reference to one of our stage show routines from a couple of weeks ago.
Have you thought about that?
I don't know if that'll work out.
That escalated quickly. That really got out of hand fast.
That was a reference, folks, to our stage show, one of our stage show skits that it came up in one of my shows at the fair last summer. Not this past summer, of course, because we didn't have fairs, but I do this skit where I say, well, everybody on stage, you're going to be famous YouTube performers, and your channel is amazing. People will put, and it's not been done. So I asked this girl, and she was real timid at first. She goes, I really don't want to say it. And I'm like, well, you don't have to tell me what it is if you don't want to. She goes, no, I'll tell you. She goes, my channel is I shave donkeys. It's just,
And she's got 1 million subscribers.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. She's got 1 million subscribers.
She's profiting off of it.
And I'm like, I don't even know where to go from that. but that's those are the great things that happen in shows, though. When you get something like that, we talked about this. Now I can just ad-lib with that and just go anywhere I want.
Well, she found a niche. Good for her.
Yeah, she did have a niche, which was great.
Oh, good for you.
So I don't know how we got on that. Oh, so people having a dream. That's what I was
There it
talking
is.
about. Yeah,
There it
there we go. I was way off track. And you have something that you really, like, in your mind, you love. It's something that you're passionate about. And most people might do this as a hobby. That's very possible. I've had so many clients come in and say, oh, I love painting, or I love scrapbooking, or I love and you may think out there, well, what am I going to do with painting or scrapbooking? Do you know how many people in the world would be interested in what you do?
Oh, absolutely.
And just being able to share that with somebody could be a business for you.
It could, but the other thing about it is, let's say we start a business teaching people how to scrapbook.
Yep.
That's our
Okay.
widget.
Yep.
And we're going to do that. In a year, we don't know where we're going to be. So that could just be the door that opens and somebody sees our dynamic personalities and love us and say, you need your own show on Bravo.
Yep.
And you're like, holy shit, this started from and
You're absolutely right. And that's where, when you start opening doors, you don't know where it's going to head.
never.
And for the positive, I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
You don't know what could happen.
Yeah, there's so many things. I mean, so my wife is a 14-year survivor of pancreatic cancer. And we found out recently this year that she is the first black woman in the world to co-own a tequila brand.
Yep.
Which is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, the Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, they're called PanCan, found out. The American Cancer Foundation found out about her story. We have had meetings, and she is going to be an occasional spokesperson for these cancer foundations.
That's awesome.
And so this door was opened because we created a tequila company who her story got out there. Somebody took notice. Who knows where it goes from here? And that's what's exciting about it. So when I walked in every day to my office or my cubicle, I knew what I was doing. I knew what to expect that day. I mean, I don't know from day to day. Like we had something happen today that somebody reached out to us to ask about our tequila, and it's a holy shit moment. And
Nice.
I don't know where it's going to go from here. It could be something. It could be nothing. But the fact of the matter is a door opened. Mm-hmm. And it would have never opened if we weren't doing what we do.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing about it, like laying on the couch, waiting for something to happen.
Yep.
Well, you're right. A lot of people have sat in their cubicle, or most people are working from home. So they're sitting at home and saying, I'm tired of this. I can't do it anymore. But it's the equivalent of sitting on your couch. Mm-hmm. You got to figure out what it is you love, what it is you're passionate about, and how you can potentially build it to monetize it.
Yep.
And once you figure out those key components, then I believe anything is possible. We just started a scrapbooking tutorial business.
We did.
And I don't even know the first thing about
Well, the reason I brought scrapbooking up is my wife does it all the time. And so it's just in front of my mind. So she'll be our coach.
Right. I mean, but who knows? It's just that amazing.
Well, and for those of you out there who have that feeling that I'm just trapped, I'm stuck in this job, and I just want you to think. I don't even want you to. I'm not even asking you to take action right now. I just want you to write it down. I want you to write down 5 ideas of things that you would just love to do. I'm not even talking about getting paid for it. Just things that you love, interests that you have. And we're going to come back to that in a show. Probably, you know what? I may do this next show just to follow up on this.
I really like that.
Follow up on your list and say, okay, let's take a look at your list. Let's figure out ways that you could implement this in your life to monetize it.
I like that. I mean, as far as homework, I really like that because so my wife and I, we created another company called Curious Inception. It's a small business startup consulting company. Yep. So we take people where they're at their beginning, they're fearful, they don't know what to do. And typically when you don't know what to do, that hinders any progress. That stops you dead in your tracks. And when I'm talking the basics, like what's the difference between an LLC and an S Corp, and what's the advantages of both? You know, just different things like that. And how many times, and you probably how many times have you talked to somebody and you're like, well, what do you enjoy doing? I don't know. Well, what are you passionate about? I don't know. That's scary to me. If I didn't know what I love, what I enjoy doing, because then I feel I'm caught up in the trap of being in corporate America way too long.
Yes, where you haven't been able to enjoy anything for so long.
Right.
Maybe that's why they can't come up with it or can't think of it.
It's wild to me because
I do have clients say that to me too. Because of course I'm all about self-care and taking care of yourself. And I say this, I use this term all the time. Selfish is not a bad word when it comes to taking care of yourself.
Right.
You have to be first, because if you're constantly taking care of everyone else, you're not going to have anything left.
No.
So I use this. I use that term all the time, and I will say to them, well, what do you enjoy? If you had a couple hours just to kill, what would you do? Oh, I don't know. I just watch TV. Now, even that, I'm not going to say that's a waste of time or that's a bad thing. And I'm going to give another. I'll go off of that. Okay, I like to watch movies, and people don't think anything about that. Do you know how many reaction channels there are on YouTube of people that review movies?
It's
and
crazy.
It's monetized.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Even something as simple as that, you could do something with.
There's so many possibilities, and I told people during this time of the lockdown, if you had an inspiring thought and you came out of lockdown without accomplishing anything towards it, moving towards your dream, that's a failure. It's a lost opportunity that we may never get back. Hopefully we don't get it back, because everybody, we're just going to continue to be safe, and this is going to, start to continue to dissipate. Right. Hopefully. But that's the way it is. So that's why we, really went after our consulting company, because we wanted to help other people. And we don't charge an arm and a leg. We give such a value that really it's a steal. Like we have a couple of clients that are building companies and they didn't know where to start, and it's our way to give back and just to make a couple of dimes. Yep, that's really it. And so it's motivational. And I want to say this, and I'll bring it up and let you address it. Surround yourself with people who are successful. I want to let you just run with that and tell me what you will about it. That's a full episode. Yes, I love it because I talk about it, and really it's what you're doing is it's math, and you are adding and subtracting. And I've found my friends list has really gone down. I don't have as many close friends that I would enjoy, like I would like. And it's not because I have changed, but maybe the perception, because I've been on TV in the Metro Detroit area 15 times. I've been on podcasts and radio and all these different things, but I'm still the same person. But what has happened is we've just slowly seen people start to change, and it's been real interesting. So other people have started to come into our, and I don't want to use levels. I never want to say like I'm on any level or somebody else is on another level. But we have very, very like-minded thoughts. So our thinking is similar. Yes. To where maybe they're an entrepreneur, they're a business owner, or, they just have a different way of thinking, and we can relate a little bit better. So the circle changes. Yep. The circle is always going to change, and it's circles and cycles, and everything is a cycle. and you're trying to keep people in your circle, but the cycle is just going to work itself.
Well, and the people that kind of back, and I'm not saying this in a literal sense, but the people just kind of back away or who might not be comfortable for whatever reason, that's probably something in themselves.
True.
Maybe they feel challenged and they don't want to address it. Maybe they feel intimidated because they haven't taken any action.
Yeah.
Which, again, I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying
No.
look at yourself and examine that. Why would you pull away from somebody who is pursuing their dream and having success? The only thing that would do is help you learn.
And it's something that we don't really understand. And so now which we don't go out that much, obviously, during these times you have to social distance and it's getting cool out. But we if we do go out and it's among friends, we really try not to talk too much about what we're doing. The conversation kind of migrates there always. Well, what's going on with the business? How are things going? But we really try not to talk about it because we don't want to seem like we're bragging. And that's really kind of what happens is, they're bragging all the time. No, you don't realize you're talking about your jobs and your promotions and how much money you make and the vacations and all that. But if I talk about what we're doing, it's bragging. So it's very, and that's why this is like a whole episode.
It could be, and I want to make a point on that. Yeah, to them it's bragging,
right.
but what's you're talking about something you're passionate about. Just like if they were passionate about their grandkids, that's why grandparents always talk about their grandkids. That's something they're passionate about. So if that's the only difference, you're just talking about something you're passionate about.
Yeah, and typically it always gets brought up, and like now, this is my job. My job just happens to be very different than your job. Mm-hmm. That's it. And, my job could be, having a picture in Forbes magazine, which my wife did. Mm-hmm. What was it? Maxim. Wine Enthusiast, what's the other? Cosmopolitan. Yep. Mm-hmm. So like these are the things where it's like, holy shit, but this is my job. This is all that it is. The same way as an actor, that's their job.
Right.
Or a musician, that's their job. But when they're walking down the street, they get flocked and people want autographs and just all because we put it on a certain level. And that's the bad thing about levels.
Yep.
We put them on a different level where they're just thinking, well, this is just my job.
Yeah.
But you don't see me on the set like Leonardo DiCaprio, where it's 14 degrees below zero and I'm eating a fish.
Right.
Like, you don't see my days that are long.
Or the time it took to get where he's at. What he's done behind the scenes, the work he's put in.
Exactly.
People don't see that.
Exactly. But we put them on this level. But it's truly to them, it's just a job. So what they do, they end up hanging around other actors, musicians, entertainers, because they can relate.
Yes.
And that's really what just starts to happen. It's not intentional, but it's just your circle changes. The cycle of some people, it just slowly starts to dissipate. Gary Vee actually said it fantastically. And is that a word, fantastic? Whatever.
I'll take it.
But he said it great, is he loves his friends from high school. But how can they relate when they're, wifed up, they have their dogs, their kids, their picket fence, and he's jet setting around the world. Mm-hmm. The relatability, and he loves them.
Sure,
but
it's just a different.
Yeah,
they're in a different. I say different world, but it's just different. You're right.
Very different. So it becomes challenging. What do you find to talk about? They bitch about their job. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to buy the New York Jets. That's what Gary Vee is famous for.
Yeah.
You're bitching about your job. I'm trying to buy the New York Jets. And so it is a difference in mentality and, and thought process. And that's what Gary Vee did is while he was in his 20s, he was working at the store, figuring out YouTube while everybody else was partying. And now everybody wants to be where Gary Vee is, where you can jet set and, do whatever and be this major influencer, in cultural society. And they're going to work every day and have their 2.5 kids, and, which is nothing bad. There's nothing wrong.
No, it's not. If you're passionate about that, that's
Absolutely.
fine. And that's my whole thing is do what's going to give you happiness. Do what's going to make you satisfied. I know I'm not even say satisfied, to make you feel complete. That's fine.
Right. And, thus the midlife crisis, And that's typically what happens is we buy shit to make us feel good. It's okay, I'm going to go out and buy this car because that's going to make me feel so great about life again. No, you have to challenge yourself internally to figure out what you're passionate about, what really resonates within you, and that's when, you really become at peace with yourself. Yep. The car's not going to do it.
I mean, it might for a week or two.
Oh,
when
absolutely.
It's new, it's fun, it's new, but like anything else, it's like a toy you get as a kid. It's great for a week, and it's in a closet.
Yeah.
And you never touch it again.
Yeah. The shine and the luster
it's done.
always fade.
So let me take a few minutes. I know we're close here, Don.
Okay.
Tell everybody where they can find you.
So if they go to Anteel, ANTEEL tequila.com, you can go to all of our social media platforms. We have links. You can also find the stores or locations because bars and restaurants are open. So you can find out who's serving Anteel Tequila, or you can purchase it. We are in over 400 locations in the state of Michigan. We are online as well for delivery, ordering and delivery in 30 states.
Nice.
Liquor laws are crazy, across the board.
I imagine that's a challenge.
Yeah, so 30 states. And the exciting news is we haven't really gone public with it, so we're kind of going public with it right now. Is we just won the Best Michigan Tequila brand again in the Detroit Metro Times. So this is back to back. So we're excited.
Oh, good for you.
No, that is good for you.
It's cool.
That's fantastic.
It's really cool, and what I love about it is the people vote.
Yep.
We don't have anything to do with it, and I didn't even know that they ran it again, and they did, and I got contacted, and we won. So that's super cool. Really excited about that. But yeah, we're doing a lot of great things. We won some international awards, the SIP awards. We won double gold for our reposado and our coconut lime, and then we're just all over the place. So, and we're just trying to continue to build, inspire, and motivate other people to create their legacy. That's what it's all about.
Which is well put. And that's what I want to hammer home, people. Create your own legacy. And we're going to – I know I gave an assignment, and I don't remember if it was this podcast or the prior one. I want you to write down 5 things you're passionate about. And I'm going to start next episode, and we're going to talk about putting – in fact, I'll put something out here now that I've not announced yet either.
Oh.
I am working on a book and a course that goes together with it. Empower Your Mind for Success, a hypnotic guide.
That's awesome.
So be on the lookout for that. It will be out. I'll say it fairly soon. So the reason I haven't announced it is because I haven't set a start date. But that's fine. It's coming, and we're going to focus on that next episode as far as setting yourself up for success for something you're passionate about. So I want to thank my special guest, Don Ferguson. And again, find him at give the website again.
AnteelTequila.com. ANTEEL tequila.com.
And I will have all of his links in the show notes. So be sure to look up the show notes. I'll have all those links there. It'll drive you right to his website and social media stuff. Don, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Glad having you in. Everybody out there, change your thinking, change your life. Laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I will see you next time.